Well, this engine has been sat on my to-do shelf for a little while, approximately 6 years. I think it was about 6 years ago that I acquired this from eBay, and yeah, it's in a bit of a state, but I mean, I've seen worse. This is a Jensen Model 70, according to the little plaque, American Jensen engine. But it's a bit unusual because I can't find any trace of this particular one on Jensen's website. They've got quite a comprehensive website because obviously they're still making model steam engines today. But there is no record on their site that I can find of a Jensen 70 which has a wooden base and the early style of black metal firebox and is electrically heated. Now, there was one very similar to this, which was the 75, that was meths fired. But this one is quite obviously electrically heated. It's got a cord coming out of it, and obviously it has an electrical heating element. So this one is a bit unusual. Now, it's all there, apart from, I think the smokestack is the only thing that's missing. And on these early Jensens, that would have been like a polished aluminium tube, so it's fairly easy to manufacture a replacement. But it is quite rusty. The firebox is quite rusty. I think the base, these varnished wooden bases on these early Jensens, I think that will clean up quite nicely. It just needs a bit of a bit of a polish, and it should be fine. But the rest of it is going to need some attention. The boilers were nickel plated. That will probably clean up okay. The engine frame here is obviously quite rusty, as you can see down here, so that's going to need some attention. But the rest of it's not too bad. I think it will clean up okay. I think this probably dates from around about the 1950s. The very early ones didn't have this sight glass protector on them, so yeah, probably 1950s. But yeah, it's just really needs to be, stripped down, and I'll take it apart and we'll see what it looks like when it's in its individual bits. Well, it's all stripped down. Fairly easy to take it apart. The Jensens are generally very, very well made, put together. There were some rivets that needed to be drilled out. The straps that hold the boiler to the firebox, they're riveted on, and this is a cover plate which goes underneath the burner, and that is also riveted on, so they needed to be they do need to be drilled out. But yeah, altogether not too difficult at all. I mean, obviously this is asbestos, and I used a full hazmat suit when removing that. Obviously I didn't film that because it's a bit difficult to film it, wearing a full hazmat suit. But yes, that's safely sealed inside that tub there, so that's not going to kill anyone in the remote vicinity. And the only real problem was one of the screws, I think it was this one, wood screws that holds the smokestack base on, refused to come out. I had to grind the head off of that. But I was able to extract the screw once I got the head off, so that was okay. But yeah, it's just a matter of going through the usual cleanup process. Now, obviously, a lot of this, the firebox, the chimney smokestack base, the boiler bands, and the cover plate for the heater and the heating element, they're going to be going into the vinegar. I'm not going to do that with the boiler. I'm just going to do a gentle cleanup on the boiler using basically metal polish, because it's not bad. And of course, this is nickel plated, and you just got to be careful with nickel plate because it's all too easy to take the whole lot off. So yeah, let's begin the cleanup. Some progress on the Jensen 70. I've given all of these parts a good cleanup. Very light going over with the brass wire brush. Unfortunately, the sight glass assembly was really, really badly corroded, and I had to take the nickel plate off on that, so we're back to the brass because this was really, really bad. But the rest of it's cleaned up quite nicely. The boiler's had its first stage of cleaning, which is just basically Scotch-Brite and metal polish to get as much of the corrosion and crap off, but obviously leave the nickel plate on, and that's come up really nicely. I've got to give it a final polish with just microfiber cloth and some metal polish. But no, all these parts have cleaned up nicely. The rusty parts have been in vinegar overnight. I'm just about to hoik those out and see what we've got. I've given the heating element a clean up using a wire wheel. That was it, very, very rusty, and I've managed to take off most of that. Unfortunately, the electrical cable has succumbed to the ravages of time, and the rubber which coats the actual wires that are inside the cable has become hard and cracked. So I'm going to have to replace this electrical cable. Hopefully the element itself is okay, but yes, it's going to need a new flex. I've given the base a quick rub down with some wire wool, but this is going to require some serious sanding. I'm going to get the detail sander on this and take it right back. Well, these are the components that have been soaking in vinegar overnight. All I've done so far is given them a brush while they were still in the vinegar, using a handheld brass wire brush, and as you can see, 90% of the, well, more than 90% of the rust is gone. This was pretty crudded up with it when I put it in there, and it's now gone. Most of the paint, it's taken off most of the paint of the smokestack support. It's taken some of the paint off of the firebox, but the problem is with fireboxes, as I've said before, the paint gets baked on due to the heat, and it's much more difficult to get off. But the brass wire wheel will clean the rest of that off, and these two will be prepped ready for painting. These will just get an extra clean up, as well the boiler band straps. But yeah, it's coming along. As I said, it's mainly just graft. It just takes a bit of work, and provided you're prepared to put the work in, you can get some decent results with these model steam engine restores. A little bit of time on the wire wheel, and they've cleaned up really nicely. I've still got to do the inside of the firebox and the inside of the smokestack support, but yeah, that's not too much work. And then these two bits will be ready for repainting. So yeah, it's coming along.